In 1587, a group of English settlers crossed the Atlantic in search of a new beginning. Before them stood Roanoke, a distant island filled with promise, mystery, and uncertainty. Men, women, and children stepped onto the shore, carrying the last pieces of the world they had left behind. Led by Governor John White, they moved inland, determined to build a life in this unfamiliar land. They worked from dawn to dusk, cutting wood, raising frames, and turning wilderness into shelter. By nightfall, Roanoke looked like a place of hope, a fragile beginning in a vast and unknown world. In August 1587, Governor John White left Roanoke to return to England for supplies. He promised to return soon, but war, storms, and time had other plans. Months passed. No letters, no ships, only uncertainty. Beyond the wooden walls of Roanoke, unseen eyes watched from the forest, and trust began to disappear. Then, one night, the fear outside the walls turned into violence. When the fires faded, Roanoke was no longer the same. Some had died, and others were simply gone. From the ruin and the silence, one clue began to matter more than anything else. The clue raised more questions than answers, and the search for Roanoke's fate began. The more they searched, the less Roanoke made sense. The island kept its secret. And centuries later, the question still remains. What happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? After 3 long years away, John White finally returned to Roanoke, hoping to find the colony still alive. But as the island came into view, something was wrong. There was no smoke, no voices, no sign of life. There were no bodies, no blood, no clear signs of a battle. It was as if the colony had simply disappeared. John White stood in the middle of the settlement, but no one answered. The houses were still there, the paths were still there, but the people were gone. Then, near the edge of the settlement, John White found something carved into wood. A message, a single word. Carved into the wood was a single word: Croatoan. But what did it mean? Was it a warning, a destination, or the last message of people who knew they would never return? Croatoan was the name of a nearby island, and also the name of a native group who lived there. John White wanted to search for them, but storms, danger, and failing supplies forced him to leave again.
More than 400 years later, Roanoke still has no final answer. Maybe they were killed. Maybe they escaped. Maybe they became part of another world. But one thing is certain. The lost colony did not leave behind an ending. It left behind silence. And one word: Croatoan.